So we got a little bit more to do before we fade away. I remembered that I had more stuff to talk about. So instead of closing out my, the whole video, we're getting a part 2. I know I haven't done these long form things in a long time, these long form style videos in quite some time. So this is a little bit different from what you guys are probably used to from me, but it's fun. So the main thing, the first thing that made me think about doing more is the munitions pack. So I got the munitions pack. It's got a ton of shit in it. You see all these different weapons. Scarlet's got a Glock there, and then there's another Glock here. Also, you see the twin SIGs in Hush's hands. I really like those. They are beautimous. The AK I gave to Soul Crusher, aka Ratcatcher, in my universe because we don't have a Ratcatcher. And then, God, I wish that big ass dog next door would shut the fuck up. I don't know what it is with dogs in my neighborhood. There's not that many, but they're all obnoxious. And this dog over here is like a fucking moose. He's ginormous, and it's like, what the fuck? We don't live in the hood. Why do you need that? Maybe it's a status thing. I don't know. But anyway, this is more like the Lawbringer or Lawmaster, or I don't even remember. I think it's called the Lawmaster. Jesus Christ. Everything wants to fuck up right now. I think it was called the Lawmaster pistol. I can't remember. It's what Judge Dredd uses. That's what this reminds me of. There we go. Lawmaster. Pretty nice. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to use that for cops. At one point, I was thinking I will use this for, what are they called? Or for the Arkham Knight. And then I was like, nah, I won't do that. Arkham Knight needs to have the what's his name pistols. And I actually can point at him right now because he's in the back. He's got to actually have the Jason Todd pistols from the Red Hood. So we can do that. But I'll get to him later. But these weapons are pretty cool. I was surprised at how like beefy some of these weapons are. Some of them look like future weapons, because they have that Top Cow / Wildstorm kind of feel to them. I mean, like, this looks like some version of a Scar or, something. Let's do that so you guys can see it. There we go. Gotta hide all those other people. I sometimes hate when my setup isn't conducive to what I'm trying to do, but let's do it. There you go. It's kind of like a Scar looking thing, and I guess we have to zoom in. There we go. It's kind of a Scar looking thing, like an oversized Scar. Then you have this one that's more like something out of Wildcats or Youngblood or something. I like this one a lot. Now, one of the problems with these is that I'm going to use Scarlet as the model for these. Some of the guns are so fucking huge that they look weird in the hands of professionals, certain figures. Like, they definitely are supposed to be used with McFarlane figures, because if you use them with Hasbro figures, they're too small and they will stretch out their hands. And I'm going to give you an example right now. So this is me just presenting this to you. You see how the buttstock is way over her shoulder and she's not really looking down the sights. You have to make her hold it like Contra or like an old action flick from the 80s, where they shoot from the hip. Gotta shoot from the hip. And it doesn't really, I don't know, it doesn't look terrible, but it looks It makes her look so small. Woman, hold the gun. What are you doing? You're supposed to be a professional. You're a scary lady. Be scary. That's when we want you to be scary. I love this, what's her face, by the way. This is my favorite version of Scarlet. Because I think Samara Weaving was perfect. But it works. You know, it could work. These look really good with Roadblock. The pistols tend to work really well with the smaller characters. They seem to, you know, work. They're the right scale, though. Don't get me wrong. When I say they don't work with you know, the Hasbro figures, it's because the Hasbro figures are just, you know, some of the joints on them are smaller. Some of the limbs and parts and stuff are smaller. But it's the right scale because, I mean, in real life, your guns, the scale of the gun never changes. It's the human being holding the gun that's different. So when you hear people telling you the scale is off, no, it's not the scale. I mean, pick up a Deagle in real life. Heavy, it's huge. That's what she said. It looks bonkers, you know, like this is a real weapon that somebody has killed people with, or at least wounded someone with, you know what I'm saying? Like the one you may be holding in your hand if you ever get a chance to use one. And like, look at those Glocks. Glocks are usually small for most people. You know what I mean? They're not one of the bigger pistols. But they look large in the hands of a Hasbro figure. So it is what it is, you know? Who else can we use to... We'll use Ratcatcher to do some of that. Oh, let me show you the SIGs up close so you can see what those look like. Looks like it looks better from a distance. You see that? They look really pretty. Really pretty is not the right word, but they look good. I figured Hush needs guns as well as his two knives, and it works pretty well. And then the AK. I love this figure. I don't know what it is. I'm not into that, like, Wasteland Warrior shit like some people are. You know how you see those images that the edgelords always post where they're in a trench coat and they got a gas mask on and shit? Like, that's not my shtick. But this looks fucking great. I mean, homeboy looks legit. It's too far. But, you know, at least I can get up closer and you can see how that looks. He looks good. And then I put a string on there so he has like a, you know, a sling so that he can hold weapons properly. But let me show you him with some of the other rifles, and you can see what I'm talking about. These look perfect with the McFarlane toys, and with some of the other figures, they look a little bit, you know, off. See that? Let's get in closer. Looks right. Homeboy can look down the sights properly. Looks really good. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's maybe look down on them. Maybe that'll be better. Yeah, that's much better. Get more light in the image. It looks really good. Let's do the bazooka. I'll switch that up. We'll do he'll do the big weapons. And you will do the smaller weapons. Yeah, I was really geeked about this. And it's weird because these came in the middle of my review. And I know my upload schedule has been slower, but here's the larger rifle with the underslung grenade launcher. I like that. Looks really good, right? This is what I'm saying when I talk about like just the quality of what you're given from McFarlane. You know, a lot of people are shitting on him, but he is doing the Lord's work. So many of the weapons that he's given us, so many of the characters that he's given us, it's all stuff that some of us have been asking for quite some time, and now we got it. And the shit looks great. And if you're not seeing that, then you need your head checked, because this shit is quite quality. The way they hold the weapons is right. The way that they aim the weapon, all of that shit is good. Like, check this out. Peacemaker with a freaking bazooka. Remember that from the old bazooka commercials? Bazooka. Anyway, look at that. I need this up higher. There we go. That looks much better. Like that. Yeah, buddy. I mean, that looks legit, right? I dig it. I dig it a lot. Another piece they did was, speaking of Peacemaker, I went on Etsy and I bought a, Peacemaker's pistol, his giant deagle. And I like it a lot. The texture is nice. It's got that freshly 3D printed, texture to it, and I like it. I like it a lot. He does shit like that, so it works. But let me get a little bit more serious so you can see this. It looks great, right? Well, just in case you didn't think to go online and get a custom, which, I mean, if you're watching my channel, more than likely you own several custom pieces. They also did a silenced version, and the proportions are almost identical to the one that I just bought, which means someone is using similar reference, which is great, or maybe the person who made that is an employee with or he had reference. He had real good reference, but they look just about the same. Little bits of detail. Jesus Christ. Little bits of differing details, but the fact that we have a silenced giant deagle, extended deagle, that's nuts. I'm so surprised that characters like Peacemaker hadn't gotten exposure prior to now. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much uniqueness going on with this character. Other than, the fact that he's like a Punisher, a somewhat Punisher analog. But look at all that. It is wondrous. It is wondrous. It is glorious. Oh, look at that. Doing the Lord's work. I mean, like, look at this one. And now look at this one. And I think this was like $2, if that. So yeah, your Peacemaker can be more complete now. I guess I could try this with him. And then we'll move on to some more McFarlane stuff, because like I said, I don't know if it's obvious or not, but I have been all in on McFarlane stuff, and I told you guys I was done. I'm kind of like to the end of my collecting in general. Like I'm kind of reaching critical mass. Now I'm getting to the point where I'm selling a lot of stuff, I'm giving away a lot of stuff, and I'm making room for all this McFarlane shit because it's so good. It is so good, and he's doing characters from the DC Pantheon that I really have wanted for a long time, and now I have them, you know. Now, and some of them I have, but I don't have modern versions of those characters, you know. So it's nice to now have modern versions of some of those characters. This I know that the M4 looks like this, or M16. I think this is an M4, M16. Anyway, I know this looks like this in real life with that big round barrel piece or rail piece. And I just wish they would shrink it a little bit just for the sake of the toy, so that you don't have to just rest a hand underneath it. You could actually put their hand, or just make an open hand, kind of like what you see there on Sarge, so that they can hold it properly. But yeah, that looks really good. Then you have these, I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything. I don't think I am. We have these the wonderful Mac 10 for, Scarlett's boyfriend. So yeah, you could get 2 packs of these, and then your Snake Eyes is taken care of. Or you could just buy the classified figure. He comes with those. You have this submachine gun. I forgot what this is called, but anyway, it's nice. You've seen it in millions of games. And that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah, that's it. That's everything. Oh, there's the Tommy gun that I have with my boy Ace Duck here. Come on, Ace, move out the way so that, there you go. So you guys can see how cool that looks. It's pretty legit, right? I dig it. It fit perfectly with his time period and everything, you know? So I was like, yo, he looks World War II-ish, maybe even World War I-ish. So I was like, hey, let's just give him a Tommy gun. It works. But yeah, that's the munitions pack. If I missed something, I apologize, but if you buy it, then you got a surprise. You got a little something. Oh, I did miss something. The grenade launcher. Sitting right here in front of me. Grenade launcher is almost perfect. It's perfect, actually. I don't know why I said almost. Making me sound like JC. With Tamasi Nations, Tamasi, it's Tamashi, sir. It's soul in Japanese. Tamashi. Laida Tamashi. Anyway, grenade launcher. Looks good. So yeah, it's a good way to get some slightly larger scale, weapons that are pretty realistic looking, but you have that sci-fi edge to them, So in some cases, like with these rifles that I just showed you, like this one here, you're getting more of the Image brand of, sci-fi weaponry. And there's nothing wrong with that, It can help make your Joes look a little bit cooler if necessary. Now, like I said, keep in mind, these are oversized. They're supposed to look badass and stuff. They work perfectly with your McFarlane figures. They look ginormous with other characters. But if you're trying to go for that, which I love it when characters have oversized weapons, especially females. I mean, obviously they can't really, in most cases, carry those giant fucking weapons and do what they need to do, but it looks more badass. Like, for instance, I prefer having my Scarlet with these pistols. Give me just a second and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I hate when that shit happens, where I move something and then I can't find it, and wait, there it is. So I love it when she uses stuff like this. So my Scarlet usually runs around with shit like this, because that's my shtick when it comes to them. I prefer Scarlet looking like... I always think of Scarlet as one of the scariest chicks on the G.I. Joe team. You know what I mean? Because when you think about who she is and what appeals to her and what she does, you know, I think that cold, calculating role that she had in Snake Eyes is perfect. But look at that. That looks official. That's how she should look. So, you know, and this gun, it doesn't look oversized, but she's just small. Now, as far as her crossbow, I prefer this kind of crossbow with her rather than the tiny little thing that she normally carries. I make her use both, but this makes more sense to me because, you know, this looks powerful and this has more going on with it, and this looks like, you know, you can have her coming off the screen like... And so you see what I'm talking about? That looks more legit. This is from Fortnite, but it's one of the more realistic looking weapons. I love it. Sarge, stop trying to steal the limelight. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So yeah, that's what I do with her. So, you know, it's up to you what you want to do. I find there are certain weapons from Fortnite that work well with other characters. If you have the FAMAS or the Silenced Scar from the Fortnite line, they look really good with most characters. I think I have one and I'm trying to find it so I can show you. FAMAS, Silenced Scar, and the shotgun. Looks really good. So, you know, certain ones you can get away with. Oh yeah, and then the pistols. I've been using these with cops figures and stuff for a while. Just they're perfectly created. I mean, with the guard cut, so you can just put their finger in there and it makes it look like they're actually pulling the trigger and the trigger guard is going under their finger. I mean, like I said, there's some really cool things that they did there because they understand a toy is a toy. You have a lot of people who talk a whole bunch of nonsense and they don't understand that, you know, at the very least you have to be aware that your toy is a fucking toy. So there will be limitations. It's not supposed to be all real all the time. Now, I know I talked about these guys a little bit, but I did get more. I managed to get some... I had this guy, this Cobra officer, and then I got a trooper. I think he looks really cool. So you can back up his commanding officer as they move. They look good. This kind of stuff is what I wish they would just shrink these down so that we could get, you know, 4-inch figures with this look, you know. But whatever. Then I found one of the guys I was really looking for, and I have been for a while, and that is this Storm Shadow. So I finally have classic Storm Shadow. So I think the majority of my search for Joe figures and stuff, these figures, is done. There's not really anyone else that I'm looking for other than Destro. I would like a Destro to go with my Baroness. Again, these are ones I picked up, but I want to give a shout out to my homeboy Sam. Thank you for directing me to all of these guys, you know. I really love it. So now I can do the whole I feel another presence. That presence feels you as well. Loved that rivalry back in the day between these two. Pyramid of Darkness, the good old days, man. But yeah, and this figure is probably my favorite in the series. Everything I hated about the 25th version and the original, it's all absent here. So yeah, that's all good. I was playing around with the Joes and having them, you know, creep, do stuff. Some of your, if you have True Heroes, if you look back at your box of True Heroes shit, some of these guns are in scale with six. I mean, we knew it when we saw them. They're in scale with 6-inch figures. So I have a gang of this stuff. I have shotguns. I have FAMASs. I have submachine guns and all kinds of shit that are sized for 6-inch figures, and they all came with you know, freaking what do you call them? They all came with True Heroes figures. So yeah, if you're like me and you have that going on as well, then definitely take the time to utilize them for your Joes instead of spending $40 and buying some, you know, 3D printed nonsense from somebody just because it's new. You know what I'm saying? You could save some money and utilize shit you already have. And we all know you already have it because a couple years ago, a lot of you were on the True Heroes bandwagon because we were all showing you this stuff and you were all buying it. So, you know, keep that in mind. Ace Duck and Mutagen Man. I still have the original Mutagen Man somewhere. He's one of my favorites. I'm not really a fan of this Mutagen Man. I think, like, it looks okay, and there's some cool details on him and stuff, but overall, not so much. I don't know what it is, really. He looks good, though. I won't lie. Very cartoon accurate. I mean, that's what they're going for, but, you know, meh. The star of this show is Ace Duck. I was all about Ace Duck, man. I never had him when I was a kid. I mean, look at that. Even his hat comes off. I didn't have him when I was a kid. I just had his belt that had the little notches for the egg bombs. So I think that's dope. So yeah, I got him. I took the wings off. He does come with wings, which is pretty nice. I was surprised about that. The wings are easy to put on. I'll put them on so you can see them. And they're really easy to take off as well. At first I was afraid to mess with them because I was like, can I actually remove these? Like, can they come off? And then I did my research. I watched a couple videos from people who actually play with their toys a little bit more. And I saw that you could take off the, take out his wings and put them back on and stuff, and that looks really good to me. I like it. So yeah, Ace Duck, that's childhood dream unlocked. He comes with a lot of stuff. Between the two of them, they come with a decent amount of stuff. All these props. I know there's a bunch of people who are going to collect these figures and have no clue what this is. What is this? Dad, Mom, what is this? And they fucked up too. The little notch is not there, but whatever. No one's going to be looking at that. Only those of us who know, we know. If you hard, then you hard. I'll put that graphic up. Hopefully I already have. But yeah, Ace Duck is quality. I really dig him. Muckman's quality too, just not my favorite. Another thing I wanted to show you guys that I'm still geeked about because it's coming together. God, this thing is amazing. We're gonna have a big ass Starro like this shit, and these are bendable. I was like, what? There's a wire in here? I didn't even realize it. My son was screwing around with them. And I'm seeing him bend stuff. And I was like, what? Doing the Lord's work. And then, are you ready? Ew. Ugh. Ah! It's fucking gross. Ah! It's disgusting. But it's fucking awesome. Ah! It makes my skin crawl, but it's so awesome. We need All Might here to help show off the different people. I'm pretty sure I showed you this because I have more than one. Because I have the other Dr. Fate. So, you know, I'm really geeked about him. But shortly, was it for my birthday? Yeah, it was my birthday. I got Hawkman. Now, this figure here is a mixed bag for me. As you can see, I have him holding weaponry from older, you know, figures. This is from the DC Direct Hawkman, the Public Enemies one. This is from the DC UC Hawkman. And then I gave him an extra blade from Mythic Legions. Because if you know Hawkman, you know he's a master of like ancient weapons and such. Now, the costume has grown on me. I like it. It's not terrible. But what I hate is the wings. And it's cheap even for McFarlane because he made what was he called? Sky Tyrant, who is the Batman who laughs with wings, you know, the Hawkman who laughs essentially. And his wings are hinged. And I honestly am like, why do you make figures that come with wings? Like, remember I was talking about the Redeemer. And Redeemer has big ass, heavy ass, stiff wings. No hinges, just a big ass piece of plastic. That's it. But he made pretty much these exact wings where this portion there was a hinge so that you could pull that out. Much like the DCUC wings that were also used on the Create a Superstar line, which I have right here. You see this? So the plan is to customize him, and that's the way I'm going to have him displayed with those wings. I'm trying to find where I put that piece so that when I'm done here, I can just glue that piece in place and call it a day. Come on. This was the piece I was looking for. So, what's cool about this, right? With the Create a Superstar, you had a harness, a la original Hawkman, and on the back of the harness, you had this piece right here, right? Just like this. And then you could clip the wings into that piece. I'm sorry, like this. So you see that bar, and you click them in there. The cool thing about this is that with Hawkman, you know, the wings tend to either retract or fall off or whatever, so that he can fight without them. So you could just take the wings off, and then you just got your character wearing the harness, right? So a couple years ago, I got the Earth 2 Hawk Girl, and I customized her. Initially I used these wings, the silver ones, but when I got Hawkman, I was like, there's no way I'm giving the black Hawkman black wings. But with her, these look good. She's not quite as, or maybe she is as black as he is, but it just looks good with her suit. So I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that with him. I need him to have shiny wings. And you see, her wings open out pretty wide. And then they also can go back. So when you want to have her flying or landing, you know, you could do so and it won't look strange. You know what I'm saying? She looks good. You can have the wings in various, you know, degrees of flappage. You know, if you want her to be standing up and you don't want the wings like all up in the way, you just put them back. And there you go. You want her diving, you could have the wings like this and then have her dive. Dive! So you have a lot of options. And then, like I said earlier, if you want her to not be using the wings and you want her to just fight, boom, there you go. Yeah, there's a big clip on the back, but you're not going to see that from these positions. She looks good, right? Even from 3/4 view, she looks good. So this is a win for me to put these wings on them because they're the best wings that we've ever gotten. And I don't know why you would ever not utilize these wings. So I'm going to take these terrible wings off of this figure and put the DCUC wings on him. And then he's going to look extra dope. And then I'm also going to work on his hands. His hands are kind of garbage. Like this hand is good. It kind of holds things because this is a little heavy. So you see it's not dropping. But this hand barely holds most things. You know what I mean? Like here's his mace. You put it up in here and look. It's like, dude, you have a lightweight mace. You should be able to use it and not drop all the things. Ooh, that was the whatchamacallit. I don't like when you're playing with them and you go to and then look at that. It's falling out of his hand. Don't like it. I don't like when the hands can't grip swords properly. Like, look at that. That's no good. This hand is a little bit better, but still his grip is so large. Doesn't hold it right. So I'm going to work on those hands to possibly replace them or, I don't know, find a way to like squeeze them and reposition them. And then the wings themselves, right? On the Redeemer wings, at the very least, you got a ball hinge, right? You see that? So that you could potentially have the wings folded out like this or folded like that. So you see that? These, you just got a big ass post. And that's it. What the fuck? So I'm not impressed with these at all. That's what pissed me off with Hawkman. So these are coming off. I'm going to attach this to his back so that he can look official with these silver wings. And I know gold and silver, people are going to lose their shit and be like, ew, these colors don't match. Because, you know, we got all those fashionistas out there that collect action figures, you know. Got to be fashionistas with their sneakers and their fucking, you know, the colors don't match. Oh my God. Batch. Your colors don't match. This costume sucks. This color combination sucks. Like, yeah, whatever, dude. You got other problems. You need to go get your testosterone checked out, homie. You know, or not. But you see that looks much better. That looks like Hawkman. Yeah, that's the one gripe I have with these things. But you can fix it with tape in that you pop these out and put some tape around it and then pop it back in. You have more friction. But look at that. That's an official Hawkman. You know? If I wanted to have him flying, I was doing this, showing my son the other night, and we were cracking up at how much better this looks than what we were actually given. I mean, look at that. That's Hawkman. That's Hawkman. Looks right. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to be working on that. Big ol' update. So the glue finally dried. Everything's set. I was able to remove these corny ass wings here. And I showed you the problems with those, and I finally added the beautiful wings. I actually did it during the time that I was doing this video. Like while this was rendering, the glue was drying, that was setting, and then I popped them in, and I was super happy with the results because it's a quick fix. I mean, essentially you cut that clip off of the you cut it off of the harness that I showed you, and then essentially you have a nice little curve that fits the back curvature perfectly, and all you need to do is fill that spot, like on the curved interior, with glue. Push it up against the back wherever it fits, hold it for a little while. I use Gorilla Glue, that seems to be the best. None of that shit has come off. I have shit I glued years ago that's still as tight as possible, and I've played with it, and my sons have played with it, and it hasn't fallen off. So it was able to hold these wings with no problem at all. And as you can see, now he looks official. Now he looks like Hawkman. Now you can do some of the stuff you've seen in the trailers and that you inevitably are going to see in the film with his wings. You know, there was a shot that they showed in one of the DC fandom trailer where he just like popped open his wings, and it looked so awesome. You can do that here. So, you know, this improves the playability of the figure. You know, this is what you want with your figures. This is what you want with the Hawkman. You know, I've talked about the engineering should always match whatever the function is of the character. This goes back to that mantra that form follows function. It's not enough to just put wings on the character who flies and fights with these wings. You gotta make him capable of using those damn wings. So with all that, now I got a fully functional Hawkman, wings and all. The only thing I need to work on is going to be that grip, but now he looks the part. He can use his wings and everything. And what's even cooler is I have him with my Earth 2 Hawk Girl, which I love, and it's as if their relationship has now transcended dimensions, you know, because that's the Earth 2 version of Hawk Girl, and here is the Earth 1, you know, Earth Prime version. But I'm happy with how this all came out, you know. Given, I mean, look at that. That's Hawkman. That's Hawkman. Looks right. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to be working on that. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I will post pictures on probably Instagram of the end result so you guys can see. But overall, he looks pretty damn cool. I was pretty impressed with how he looks once you get him posed. You can get him looking really badass, especially with this nth metal short sword. You can get him looking pretty fucking official. And, you know, the McFarlane figures have really good articulation, despite what you hear from the usual suspects. But it makes them look really hardcore. I mean, look at that. Does that look whack to you? Jesus Christ. How about you? Let's move in real close, and then there we go. Look at that. Does that look whack to you? It looks pretty damn good to me. So yeah, I'm not all pissed at this. He looks good to me. There are aspects about his design that I would have done differently. I feel like, in my opinion, he's a little too much with all the spikes and like the wing ear things being so ridiculous. I mean, they're good. They look good, and after you get used to them, they look good. I would have had them more like straight like this. But I guess to differentiate his silhouette from Batman, it's kind of good that they flare out. I would have made him have this kind of nth metal mace, because you want a mace that looks like it's been through battles, not this overly, you know, designed Cybertron mace. Like, come on, guys, it's too much. The shoulder thing. I would have made this a whole gauntlet type deal, a whole armored arm sleeve, you know? Also, the shape of this harness, because, you know, the harness used to have something to do with his wings, but now I guess the harness should be connected to the belt, unless it's part of this armor. But anyway, that's me really thinking super hard about how all this stuff works. But he looks good. Him and Dr. Fate. It's like really nice updates to like very classic characters, you know? And they don't look bad. So, I mean, look at that. Let's do it this way. Yeah. They look legit. I like it. I like it. So, yeah, I am not sad about those guys. They look good. I'm glad that I got them. These were birthday gifts. And, you know, the fact that little Strydent is always aware of what I'm into makes me happy. So, you know, I am happy to have these guys. So expect more updates on these two. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Looks really good. So yeah, I'm pretty I'm happy with him. I'm just gonna fix him and make him even better. What else? Let's move you out the way. Let's talk about Parallax real quick. Parallax. Now, I didn't even realize that Parallax was out, and then we were at Walmart getting some protein powder and BCAA and all that stuff, my vitamins, getting my drugs, and yeah, I saw them on the shelf. They had tons of them. I was like, oh shit, yoink. And I was pretty impressed with him. He looks the part. I haven't had a Parallax since the good old, and I'm not going to bring him out right now. I'm not going to go look for him. He's tucked away in a box, and I don't even remember where I put that box. But the old Total Justice version, that was the one I had. And other than that, never had another Parallax figure ever. And so this is kind of nice to be digging back into that well, or, you know, reaching back into that well. He came with power battery. It's pretty nice looking. And these two fireball things that, for the most part, fit over his fists. There's a very specific way that they fit over his hands. And so after you play with it a little bit and move it around, you'll figure out where in this recess his fist is supposed to go. And then it will click. It kind of like snaps on and it looks good. But yeah, Daryl Banks would be proud. That looks the part. And the cape looks nice. I'm not doing shit to him. I'm not changing anything. They even got the gray on his hair. Like, check this out. See that? It's subtle, but it's there. I was like, wow, you guys really you really did the thing. And then the transparent hands, or translucent hands, are a nice touch as well. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I did not expect, I don't know why I keep saying I did not expect to be so amazed at this figure. I thought he was going to be kind of meh, and then he turned out to be great. Like, I saw pictures of him and stuff, and I was like, that's a must get, you know? And then, you know, seeing him in person, I'm impressed. That's the one issue I'm having with them, is if you bump them or move them, they come off the freaking, well, unless you put them all the way down, the stand just comes off too easily. And getting them to stand sometimes is just, it's freaking annoying. That's the one area that McFarlane has to work on. It's not impossible, but they need better ratchets in their ankles. But as you can see, it can be done. He is standing. Let's see. Lex Luthor. This was another one. My wife picked this up. She got him on sale, and I didn't even know. I had forgotten about him too. But he's really cool. Evil Jeff Bezos. Oh, and I forgot. So the Crime Syndicate guys come with these, which are pretty nice. Equally as gross on the other side. They fit over their chests instead of their faces. I thought it was a cool touch. I'm very happy to have those. But yeah, like this this version of Lex looks really good. And so now he's in the proper, like, giant scale with the slimmer power suit, you know? And I like it. I love this face, man. This face is legit calculating and very, you know, Ivan Reis. Kind of Jim Lee, too, with the shadow, where the shadows fall. So, yeah, I dig it. I dig it a lot. Looks really good. And the details on the suit look really good too, even though there's not that much paint. This is the thing that McFarlane does well. I mean, obviously the customizers are going to go all OCD and be like, there needs to be silver and there needs to be yellow and blah, blah, blah. Dude, like, calm down. It's a toy. If you're going to play with them, this is perfect. You don't have to worry about paint getting chipped off and stuff. And you can see, like, in the comic books, they do a good job of separating the colors, you know. This is the whole point of having that 2-color system or 3-color system sometimes when it comes to coming up with the designs, you know. You break up the colors. You have a dominant color. You have a secondary color, and then you have an accent. The silver is the accent on this. The green is the dominant color, and then the purple breaks up all the green. And the 2 colors play off of one another in a way that makes him more, you know, interesting to look at. Just like with Parallax. Parallax has green predominantly, and then he's got black to break up, you know, it's the secondary color. And then he's got the silver or white accents. I think in the comics they were white, but in recent, you know, portrayals it was silver. It breaks up the colors. You know, if you look at all the classic characters, all the versions of all the classic characters, you'll see what I'm talking about. All Might has it, you know, blue. And then he's got red and white accents, but he's got yellow to play off of the, I guess he's got more white than yellow because it's on his sides and, yeah, and on his chest. So he's got the white to help break it up, and then he's got the yellow and red accents. And it works. Next up, let's talk about Bane. So, this is probably the best Bane figure we have ever been given. Both because he's sturdy and because he's huge. I remember I really wanted the one from DC Collectibles for from Arkham Origins, but all those figures were made of let's put him in an action pose. All those figures were made of that resin, and that shit sucks. Resin is not the, that's what you would make a prototype out of, but not the final figure, because you move it along, move him around, and it will get brittle and pieces will fall off. And essentially what I've been describing to you guys when I told you that my what's his face, all my Arkham City figures are starting to fall apart. That's pretty much what happens when you use too much resin and not enough ABS. But this guy is a freaking monster, and he looks great, and it's nuts. One thing I like about him a lot is that the motif is carried, a lot of everything is carried over from the way he looked in Nightfall. And this is the Collect and Connect from you know, DCUC. And as you can see, the details are the same, except he's got the tanks strapped to his back and the extra straps. I love it. But like when you're looking at him, the zipper up there, the zipper right here, it's the same era. They just amped it up. So like, if you have an imagination, which a lot of people do not, Just pretend this is him before and this is him after the Venom. You know, like just make him a big dude already. There's some people who are like real weird sticklers for he's supposed to be the same size as Batman, and Batman and him are the same. Just stop. They don't have to be. You know, you've got him here. He's a bigger dude than Batman. You know, bigger dude than most of the Bat family. You know, and like I said, if this is him, if that, oh come on, now you don't want to stand up. My ground on this desk, I purposefully leaned it up a little bit. It's like on an angle, upward a little. It as it goes back, it dips down, because when they're standing closer to the front, they level up and stand up straight. You know what I mean? For some odd reason, that always seemed to be the way this desk works. It's one of those desks that tilts. I mean, it's a drafting table, so this is a struggle I have with them. So when you look at, you know, characters like Red Hood, he's about the height of your average Batman figure from McFarlane. And this is a DCUC figure right here. And he's bigger than him. That works. I always felt Bane should just be a big-ass dude. Fast, strong, great fighter and whatnot. He's not a luchador, but he's wearing a luchador mask. Whatever. And then when he gets jacked, you know, when he venomizes himself, then you end up with all of this. And this is where he really becomes intimidating. Because, I mean, that's what he should be. It's fucking terrifying to fight because he's like a walking battleship, you know? He's like this big-ass tank of a man. And then he's got that scary Hannibal Lecter intellect. That works for me, right? That's the way it should be. So for me, that works. I've always made sure that Bane and Croc were huge compared to other figures I had, or at least bigger in muscle than them. Whenever you have the option, that's the best way to do it. So that's what I'm doing with those guys, with Bane. You've got your DCUC as him before, and then you've got him venomed up, and that's the after. And you can tell there's veins going all, you know, sticking out all over the place. It just looks like the continuation of that. So I love him. The only thing he needs is probably an extra head where the mask is ripped up and fist hands. If he had fist hands, he'd be perfect. If there were, you know, these wouldn't fit that body, but, you know, if you could, you know, that could be a thing. That could be a way to circumvent that. It's just, I don't know, man. They knocked this out of the park. I mean, look at this detail. I mean, look at him. Texture out the wazoo on his costume. Look at the texture on this mask. It's nuts. You know, texture on the straps. You can tell that these are leather straps. You could tell that it's t-shirt material for his upper, you know, wife beater type deal, tank top. Then you can tell it's like twill on his BDU pants. All that's there. You can tell that the gauntlets themselves are some hard, you know, probably metal cuff. It's just well done, man. Well done. And then the tank, or tanks, plural. It's so well done. And then, you know, it's strange to me to hear people nitpick this figure because, I mean, like I said, this is what you got before, and it's not bad, you know, and he's not really lacking, but this is just taking this to the next step. This is legit what I have said was missing from the DCUC line. DCUC figures were comic accurate to a specific era, but they didn't do anything to make them feel like they actually exist. Whereas all the McFarlane figures from all the new stuff, even when they go full-on comic, he adds seams, he adds wrinkles, he adds all kinds of things to make the figures feel like they exist in our world. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It works. Makes them look so good. So Yeah, this Bane, I mean, you kind of don't need anything else once you get him. Now, you know what I would like to see him do, because this green is vibrant and it looks like the venom is in there, but you could also pull that off with this, you know, translucent green hose. You know, it's a little fancier. But you know, you see over here though, they still use the neon green paint. So it's one of those things. They achieve the same thing but in a different way. This still holds up so many years later. That's eventually going to rust and like the paint's going to chip off, or it's going to just flake off eventually or something. Or it may just dissolve sometimes. I mean, time will tell. I haven't had anything like that happen with older McFarlane toys, so I don't really expect that to happen with this. But Bane is a winner. He is a winner. Next up, let's talk about Croc. Now, Croc is dope. I expected Croc, though, to be taller than Bane, because it just feels like Croc should, this version of Croc. And he is a little bit taller than Bane, but they're almost the same size. He's just like about, you know, a half a head taller. But, you know, I'm okay with this. He looks right. And it's funny, he came in the mail. I had pre-ordered him. Then he showed up in the mail the day that I was playing around with this guy, and his leg, you see that gap? He always had a gap since I first got him. I think it's even in the review, but this leg started to wobble. I was like, oh, fuck. So that's going to come off. I mean, it's an easy fix. You just would put a screw in there and then like pull out the barbell and put a screw going through there. One that can fit that, you know. Oof, that's not what I wanted to do. One that can fit that recess, you know, and it would work. But I wish he was that big, because I mean that feels like Croc's immense size. He is a fucking Croc, and then look at him compared to Bane. So when they have their confrontation, which if you remember, it was in the animated series and it was in the comics, he fought Croc and he injured him. This kind of feels like the size that he should be. But then again, you know, it's all up to, I guess it's up to interpretation to some degree, because sometimes, you know, you got to work with what you got. Sometimes you may only have this certain specific, you know, version of a character, so you got to work with his size. But yeah, I love this. I was surprised. I was super surprised that, you know, McFarlane chose to do this and they made him look so fucking scary. I apologize for this camera work. This is me just sit down and talk about some shit. But anyway, I'm super surprised at this. I mean, look at that. Look at how fucking creepy that looks, you know? Another thing I love is because he's running around in the sewers, look at the dirt on the bottom of his pants. Really. Look at that. Subtlety, man. It's like they're wet and dirty. I love it. I love it. So Croc is pretty dope. And like the posability is not really bad either. He can do the superhero landing. And he has a little bit more of a crunch than what we're used to from the big dudes. So it's kind of weird when you think about it. It's like, shit, they actually made him pretty fucking posable. But check this out, look. So if you need to, you can get him in the superhero landing. And he doesn't look bad. Just trying to make sure it looks good. Or like a jumping wham, you know, type punch where he's punching the ground and shit. But look at that. I would hide this foot because I can't really turn this for some odd reason. So I would keep this hidden and I would just frame it like that. Let's see if we can put this more into the background like that. And frame it like that. Yeah, there we go. So you frame it like so. Looks good. Yeah, I'm pretty freaking happy with this figure. Looks really fucking good. So yeah, Croc is a winner. Him jumping at people, you can actually make him do it and it doesn't look bad. Have him leaping at Batman from out of the water, like, actually let me pull back so we can see all that. You know, we'll use Red Hood. Have him aiming up at him and then you about to get eaten, boy. All that edgelord shit. What's good now, motherfucker? What is good, mother... You know what I'm saying. Anyway. Red Hood. Let's move on to Red Hood. And then I think I have just a little bit more to talk about, and then we're done. I'm doing this... I got the one from the Arkham Knights. This suit grew on me. No, I don't think he looks like Deadpool, but I can see why people would say that. You know, it's really easy to see. It's it's a red mask with black around the eyes. It's so easy for you to see why people would say that. So I'm testing these and I'm not going to leave him with these. I prefer him using the actual Red Hood guns, but you know, I like that these have some articulation. But yeah, this figure is pretty cool. It's surprising to me that... Come on, look at him. Let's get this light on him. There we go. It's surprising to me the color combination they used and like how like really form-fitting, but it's functional, you know, with these clips here on the side, so he could just like, you know, bring his hands down and reload. That's cool. I would also have put them here, kind of like this one did, because that makes sense. Have them on his sides. But let me put the other guns in his hands. I had to... He doesn't come with two holding things hands, which pissed me off. Instead, he comes with a fist hand. He comes with this open hand, which, you know, is kind of good. You know, it's kind of problematic. And then he comes with the two pew-pew hands, and I'll show you those in a few minutes. Which was like a big fuck you from Todd McFarlane to Warner Brothers for the ruling that like characters who use guns can't come with guns in the toy line, which is pretty stupid. But, you know, thank God McFarlane did the whole munitions pack, you know. I like that. The munitions pack is nice. But give me just a second. Just a second. Here we go. I think this looks much better. That looks way better. Hold on, let's get him positioned. There we go. Gotta give you guys the goodness. There we go. Or we can do it like this. I really wish, though, they would start sculpting the chest a little bit more so that, like, with a little bit more space on the sides of the pecs, so that people could cross their arms over their chest, or make the shoulder joint, the peg that goes into the shoulder, longer, so that we could utilize more of the butterfly. I mean, I know they don't really have a butterfly in there. They just have a gap filler, kind of. Oh my god. Everything wants to fall when I'm doing this shit. When I'm doing it live. Fuck it. Doing it live. Just fuck it. But overall, I think the figure looks really good. I was skeptical at first, and then the more I saw pictures of him, and I thought about the goofy hands, the pew-pew hands, I was like, you know what? Let me jump on this and see, let me see what this figure is all about. And it works. I like what he does. I like the way everything looks. I like the poses I can get him in. I mean, this looks legit. Aim that better. There you go. See? That Marvel vs. Capcom style view. Or Injustice style view. So yeah. He looks pretty damn legit. There we go. Looks good. It looks good on you. So this I gave him hands from one of the hands from General Zod. Kneel before Zod. On planet Houston. And I like what it looks like. I mean, you can't even tell that that's what I did. You know? But if you look closely, you can see all the detail on his fist. Because Zod only came with one holding things hand, which kind of sucks if you ask me. Because it would have been nice if he had more than one, because then I could have used the other one to hold, his guns. To hold Red Hood's guns, and now we could have two matching black hands. But I'm sure one of my other Batman figures has two holding things hands, probably one with a trigger, because McFarlane always has triggers on their fingers, trigger fingers on their hands. So there's that. But then you also have this right here, which is kind of funny because it's like pew 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 pew. The inevitable, because everyone will do this because of Deadpool. It's like pew pew pew. Shoot yourself. There you go. So yeah, not terrible. This is a big ass elbow cut though. Jesus Christ. But it gets the job done. So you can have him jump back and blackow. Another figure with less of an ab crunch than what we're used to from some of the older McFarlane figures. I don't know why he insists on not having that point of articulation be more, but it is what it is. But it's not terrible though. It's kind of funny. But that's what he's got. Neener. Stuff that he probably would never do. You smell his hands. Ooh. But anyway, you see the hands, you get it. Todd McFarlane saying, fuck you, Warner Brothers, for being so stupid. Stop making stupid, like, rules. This shit is dumb. You have him, like, the fingers in the fingers all up in a chick's face. Like you see at the club. Bitch, I done told you, bitch. I'll never fucking forgive you, bitch. But, yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. There's a lot of cool detail going on this design. I was surprised that I liked all of the detail. And then also, the cool thing is, I do have another Red Hood head from that New 52 Red Hood. You know what I'm talking about? The one that I used the suited body to make my Bruce Wayne custom. And I could use that Red Hood head on this, where you can't see his eyes, because I kind of prefer that. It's kind of like this, where you can't see the eyes and it's all closed up. I love that. So, you know, you get to have the vigilante that kind of works with Batman. Then you have the Arkham Knight. The Arkham Knight. And then you have the heroic version of Jason Todd. After, you know, he could be your mainline Red Hood. It's all up to you what you want to do with them. These are toys. We're supposed to play with them, and we can figure out what we want to do with them as we go along, right? So, yeah, that's pretty much it for all this McFarlane stuff. Let me bring out the last bit of stuff that I want to talk about real quick. I just want to geek out about something, because seeing the fruits of your labor is kind of nice. You know what I mean? So for a while, I had been gathering all these characters, you know, because I have other versions that look good, but they just weren't posable. You know what I mean? I even have another Evelyn. I have the Evelyn that comes from the Revelations line. But I prefer this look. So when they do that version of Evelyn, I will be getting that in a heartbeat. But, like, it's that whole crew. I mean, all I don't have is Clawful. I need Clawful. And Whiplash. And I do have a version of Whiplash, but he's small in comparison to these guys, so I don't have him in the setup. You know what I'm saying? But seeing all these guys together just makes me so happy, because this is that thing that I was talking about years ago when it comes to, you know, the speculators and the scalpers fucking it up for everybody else. They come in and they make the prices so ridiculous that you get priced out of something that you are invested in. All so that they can make, you know, a quick buck off of stupid collectors that don't know any better. Or just, you know, they're just stupid to begin with. You know what I'm saying? So having the ability to finally go to the store and get the good guys and the villains that I want and have them look good. I mean, you can say what you want about things that you want to see on the figures. You can be like vintage, whatever. I don't care. I like the ones I can find of certain characters, as long as the characteristics that I love about those characters are still there. 2000X, the best designs we ever got of all these characters. I mean, like, Beastman looked amazing, but they've replicated some of that, you know? Like, look at this. That still looks good. He's just not as posable as that big-ass Beastman over there. But he still looks fucking phenomenal, right? You know? Same goes for, what's his face? And I have him right over here. Give me a second and I will get him out so you can see what I'm talking about. Maybe I don't have him out. Oh yeah, maybe. Same thing with Triclops. The 2000X version looks way better than that. But he's not posable. I mean, look at the gear and the cool Mayan-ish stuff that he's wearing. You know, the design elements all over his costume. It looks way better than the design pieces on that. It's just that when you look at them, you can still tell it's the same character, right? Oh, fuck. Sometimes Ooh, this has to happen at least once, right? But I love the fact that I can have all that right there, and the figures look good, and it's achieving the goal of having all the cronies, so that when I do play with my He-Man figures and stuff, they have all the right characters are there. Yeah, sometimes I'm gonna substitute, you know, for the figures that they haven't made yet, like, this small Whiplash. It's still Whiplash, though. Still got him. I can still use him if I want to. He still looks really cool, you know. I didn't pay an arm and a leg for him. But you know what I'm saying? He's not as big as he needs to be. He needs to be the same size as Beastman over there. So he could be like kind of up like this in the background. You know what I'm saying? Like that tall or close to it. But, if I have to substitute, hey, I'm going to substitute. I also have Spikor if I need to use another bad guy. And I have the other guy, Scareglow as well. I mean, I pretty much have everything they've released with the exception of the new Eternia stuff. And the Tila. I didn't want the new Tila because I have the classics Tila. But, as they do other characters, I'll be interested to see them. But, I love the fact that I'm able to do this. And then as soon as I get that new Eternia Skeletor that's really young Skeletor, when he was under Hordak, I'm going to be happy with that shit. And I really want the King He-Man / Battle Armor He-Man because that was the first He-Man figure I ever got. And to have an updated version of him is going to be awesome. So, I'm a Motu fan. I know the lore. I know the differences between the different versions of the lore. But I like what I like when it comes to them. And I cherry pick. And some characters look better in certain, modes than other or certain versions than others. And then sometimes it's just a matter of like, look, what the details are supposed to be. Is Superman wearing a blue suit, red and yellow S, red cape, red boots? You know what I mean? If he has underwear or he doesn't have underwear, as long as it mostly looks like Superman, I'm there. Like that awesome Superman I showed you in the first part of this from McFarlane that has the more muted colors. It's still Superman. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it works. I know you see on Instagram and Facebook all these customizers repainting him when you already know they're just going to make another one down the road that has that body, and all you'll have to do is swap the heads. Why waste the time? But, it's their hobby. They love doing it, so they're going to do it. But anyway, the point I'm getting at, though, is like this feels good. Everybody looks enough like what you recognize. I mean, like Faker's all jacked up, but you can tell it's Faker, right? I love the fact that he's not blue because I never understood why would they go in that direction and then call him Faker when He-Man is not blue. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, I don't know, there's a lot of things with Motu toys versus the actual stories that, like, the explanations tend to be stupid. I know he's part of a ploy to trick people, but it's like, why don't you just make him look like this? I love it. It works, If you have to use your imagination to pretend he's not all ripped up, then hey, you put the other harness on him and he's not all ripped up, there you go. It's the same with Trapjaw. He does have a funky kind of face, but you couldn't tell, not from the way he's looking right now. So, I don't know. I'm just really geeked to have these guys, and I really love the way they look. And, yeah, I figured I would share my thoughts because sometimes you get those moments where you get things together and you see like the fruits of your labor and it's like, shit, this actually feels great. This looks like what I was hoping it would look like. And I am, I'm geeked. I mean, this Evelyn, I got her at one of the conventions and she goes for a pretty penny mint in box. I got her used from a seller at one of the toy shows. and she hasn't disappointed. You know, she's not the most posable, don't get me wrong, and I have so much. I think I have like 85% of the 2000X line, and she's pretty much Tila with like some changes to her design and everything, you know. But she's still dope. She still looks like Evelyn. You know, all the details there are Evelyn. She still feels the part. She's smaller than Skeletor. She works. I mean, till this day, the 2000X Skeletor is one of my favorites. I even customized his cape a little bit, made a custom cape for him so that he would look more, he'd have more shit hanging from him, more tatters, if you will. And it works. It looks the part when you see him walking around with his people. You know what I mean? Having all that behind him. It looks like what you see in a lot of the concept art for Motu. And you can tell this is the original deal. This is the one I got way back in the early 2000s. You can tell his belly is yellowing. You see that? My mom smoked. So, like, a lot of that stuck. And no matter how much I washed it and stuff, it's stuck in the plastic. It absorbed into the plastic. There's a little bit of yellow on his, come on, All Might, what are you doing? A little bit of yellow on the Havoc staff, but, yeah, but the point, the overarching point is that, I'm finally seeing more of what I had been collecting for when it comes to these guys coming into play. And it makes me happy to see that because, it's why I'm collecting these guys. It's why I do what I do. I want to sometimes see the fruit of my labor. I mean, I'd love to always see it, but sometimes you collect with a goal in mind and then you see that goal realized and it's like, shit, this is awesome. I don't really need to go crazy. Like I said, I just need Clawful and Whiplash and I'm good. I don't have to really worry about all the other characters. I don't need every single character personally because I like certain ones and I want certain ones to be, my group of rogues or my group of heroes or whatever. So, yeah, it's nice when that happens. But anyway, that is going to do it. I am Strydent, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I really appreciate you guys coming along with me for this long-ass video describing all of these things that I am, into and whatnot, and all these pickups, and, just talking about figures, man. I've been working a lot lately. Started a new job. It's a government gig, like I said in one of my, one of the vlogs, and it's a lot of work, and I don't have any co-workers that are geeks like me. So I'm talking about action figures and stuff even less than I was before the move to the new job. You know what I'm saying? So leaning on these videos from time to time and jumping into my Patreon and just going off on tangents about action figures and stuff, that's kind of doing a lot of good for me these days. So I greatly appreciate it, and I look forward to a couple more videos, several more videos like this where we sit down and just geek out. So anyway, thanks again. That's it for me. You guys have been great, and as always, peace outside.